see what we've done there. And we will, we probably won't be sending an evaluation out straight after this session, but we will be sending out one after the next one, because that's kind of, we've done a whole academic year, and it'd be really good to kind of hear your views, to see what we could kind of improve on for next year. So today is all about social value. You've just got me for the first 5 minutes, Michelle Dow, Managing Director of All About Futures. Okay, social value is a really, really big subject, and quite a hot topic as well. But I kind of wanted to put it into perspective on kind of what we're looking at as a collective when it comes to the schools and colleges landscape around careers guidance. One of the things that we talked about in our last masterclass was very much around people have been joining at different times, which is great, but they haven't got the kind of information to look back on. Now, I did send out with the invite that we've done a lovely new, I say we, the royal we, the lovely Leslie Ann has done a lovely new landing page on the Careers Hub website. I'll send that link out again. That just gives a little bit of background info. So when we're talking about schools and colleges, they are judged by Gatsby benchmarks of good careers guidance. But one of the things that is highlighted within that is good careers guidance is the key to social mobility. So for young people come from a background of low socioeconomic aspirations, school careers guidance is their best hope of charting the way to a rewarding future career. And I think that's really important for us to kind of keep in our heads as we're thinking about social value in this session. This is a masterclass, so you will be getting a lot of information kind of thrown at you. There is a little bit of opportunity to get involved, but I do hope you come away with a couple of things that you didn't know before, or again, you know, want to continue the conversation. It was almost like we planned this, as yesterday, the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority actually published their first annual social value report. You'd think would have timed it. If you haven't had a look at this document, I would really recommend that you grab a brew and spend some time going through it. It really focuses on kind of the principles of social value. You know, recognizing that social value are the kind of building blocks, like it's the wider definition of social value. It's not just around financial outcomes, it's what value doing these types of interactions, interventions, whatever you want to call them, what it means to our area, to our region, and, you know, looking at how we can provide opportunities, increase equality, improve well-being, and again, you know, look at life chances for the people in the city region. Really good document. It really kind of backs up what we're going to be saying today. But we will send the slides out as a follow-up, and I'll make sure that that link's in the chat as well. Again, if anyone wants to talk about that in any further capacity, please let me know. Now, you've not got me today, you've got our lovely project officer, Joanna Bateman, who has done quite a few different things in her brilliant career. But yeah, I'm going to hand over to Joanna and she's going to fill you all in on social value and a little bit about her story as well. Over to you, Jo.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all not too hot. I know that in the chat there that we did speak about, yeah, it being quite a toasty day today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, to begin with, the difference between the corporate social responsibility and the social value, because as Michelle said, the social value is a hot topic at the moment, but sometimes those two things do get a little bit confused. So I'm hopefully going to try and make a bit more sense for you all. And we're going to look at a little bit about how employers can change students' aspiration and their career goals based on what they're doing to improve social value for their company and for their community. And in a little bit, I shall show you why I am quite so passionate about social value and encouraging other people to review it, take part in it, and try and improve it within their companies. And some feel-good factor stories at the end that will hopefully inspire you to all go away and go, ah, yes, this is something that I will drive a little bit harder to do in my role in my company. So a corporate social responsibility isn't social value, and they're the things that are part of how the company operates. It's something that may be ethical and beneficial, but it's not really adding extra value in the way that the social value does. So these are often aligned with the business strategy. It's often what's already set by the company. And these may be things like ethical sourcing of materials. It may be having a modern slavery act. And those kind of things, they're not being measured or reported for. It's just how the business is running what they do. As I say, it may be that those things have benefits, but it's not contributing to the local community in quite the same way. Whereas social value is something that you're doing to add that extra element to your community to try and improve the local job market and to really benefit the individuals who are associating with your business or are impacted by what you're doing in that area. It's quite often that social value is linked with KPIs. It might be something that is part of a contract that you're running. So my background has been in civil engineering for the last 8 years, and I know that there were situations where our clients would ask us as part of projects to deliver X amount of social value as part of that. And we've seen a real change, certainly in the engineering industry, and it's likely the same in many other industries as well, that this has stopped being a nice extra for businesses to provide and has started being what is expected. So now this is where businesses are sort of sitting up a little bit more and listening to, okay, the social values kind of expected, and we're trying to now compete in extra social value. And the impacts that can make. So it's not just what is good for your business, your staff in the team, but also how that can help you with your work winning as well. And with the social value, there's lots of ways now that is being recorded and measured and fed back. And we're going to look at one of the examples of that going forward in these slides. So it's important, but why are we doing it? Well, it's these good news stories and what is happening really makes businesses get noticed. If you're showing how the work that you're doing and the extra bits that your business are giving to that community, how that's positively impacting people. We all like a story. We like being able to hear how, this company did this and this is the impact to this local community group. This is how it's impacted this school. This is how it's impacting the women in the area. Those kind of things make real good traction for getting your business noticed, and that in turn is helping the organization's reputation. When your reputation starts to get noticed and is look at the positive difference, that's where winning those contracts start to come in as well. Not only is it business winning as well, it's really helpful for your staff. So whether you're part of a smaller business, part of a larger business, your team members and yourself can use social value as a means of adding for your professional development, adding for when you're looking at getting that promotion in work, those skills development that you can enhance by taking part in social value outreach in the company. It's all skills building. So it's good for the business, good for the individuals, good for the communities that you're operating in. But it's also not just about the business growth. And we know it all comes down to money. Everything comes down to money. Of course it does. But it's also about it being the right thing to do. When you're improving that community and improving the society that you're in, that knock-on effect can be massive. And we'll see a couple of those stories in a little bit about just how big that impact can be, that ripple that can be created by the investments in the money for the social value that's given. The social value doesn't necessarily need to be directly on how it's impacting an individual or a group of people. It's also how it's impacting the environment and the economic situation where you are. And often we do think about, the people, but we sometimes do forget just how impactful that to the environment can be. One of the ways that social value can be measured at the moment is using the TOMS framework. So what I've done is I've pulled a couple of bits of information from the TOMS website, where just to give you a bit of an idea about the different kinds of activities that your business may be able to do, and just to see how that money really reflects and how that can grow. So here are some examples of the social. So if you've got community volunteering, where you've maybe got 1 or 2 staff members who go to a local school, a local college, and they deliver a little bit of a talk about what they do and in their job. So the example there, that if you've got 2 staff members who go and do a 2 hours career talk that takes an hour of preparation time, that's estimated at about £85 there in social value contribution. If you have got a situation where either from something that you're doing within the job, or if you've got a couple of staff members who go out somewhere to maybe local nature reserve and do a day of volunteering as part of their business time, if you've got members who are going out and volunteering for a local conservation or sustainable ecosystem management, and you've got 6 of them who go out for a few hours, that's valued at over £600 there worth of social value. So an example of that is the business I'd previously been in. There was a team of about 16 of us who went out to the local nature reserve. We did a day worth of hedge laying, cutting back some plants, doing a bit of composting, relined some compost bins and stuff, all that kind of thing. For the business I'd been in, it was worth more than that because there were more members of staff. But that's where those sort of, not just it being, oh, our staff have gone out and done something nice, but you can actually start to put monetary value on that to be able to report and to be able to say, this is why it's worth doing. When we then look at the environmental side, we see those numbers start to creep up. So if you've got a system in your work where you're able to reduce waste through the reuse of the products or the materials, depending on what your business is, that starts to go up more in the money. If you have got an opportunity where you can influence maybe your suppliers and your customers about environmental protection, again, there we're looking at like over £100 there for the social value contribution that makes. And when we start to look at economic, and this is where it will vary depending on the size of your business, but it may be that here, if you're able to bring in a full-time employee who's on the contract, who's currently not in employment, education or training, you can see there that's worth over 15,000 worth of social value. So this is where, when you start to bring in these people who are maybe not from previously employed people, when it starts looking at things like those who are homeless and how you can start to really impact them, that social value all really creeps up as well. So it may be that maybe you're in a smaller business and that's not something that you are able to offer, but if you've certainly got a larger business, it might be something where you can start to see it may be that your company already has this kind of policy in place, or these are the kind of programs that they're already operating in, but it helps to be aware of how much social value that your business is able to create from that. Offering apprenticeships there as well, another brilliant way that for a number of weeks. So again, at the bottom there, you can see that for the offering the apprenticeship or a T level on a contract, that value goes up depending on the number of weeks that you're able to offer. So these figures really can increase into quite a large amount of social value that your business is able to offer. If you are able to go out and provide careers talks to young people that are quite specific, so not just necessarily saying, I work in a water business and this is what I do as my job, but going and giving that bit more tailored support to those young people. So offering maybe a workshop on how to write a CV. If you're able to go and get your staff to offer support in a local school or college where they're doing mock interviews, that's where social value really comes in as well. So if you've got a staff member delivering a 2-hour workshop to 20 students, you can see there how that social value goes up to over £4,000 there. And it's because of that impact that it's making more specifically to each individual child that you're engaging with. That might be that maybe in a mock interview situation, you interview 3 or 4 students in the day. So it does depend on what time your company is able to offer. But if you're interested as an individual in approaching your employer or trying to get other people within the business, maybe to say, oh, come and do this mock interview in the school, or come and do this CV writing workshop. It's not just because it's nice and because it will help your skills, but also because it's actually worth an awful lot of social value to the business and to the wider community. If you're able to host work experiences as well, you can see there how the figures are going up into the hundreds worth of value by having meaningful work placements and those engagements with it can be with young people, but also the social value is it might not be young people, it might not be somebody in a college, it might be that maybe there's a local charity or a local group that you can help where it's adults that you can bring in, and that's still contributing to that social value figure that you're able to promote and shout about within your business. So quite a few examples there. And also quite a bit of my voice. So you can have a little break from my voice while we watch a video that really shows just how impactful these social value engagements can be. And everybody can watch now as this video works with absolutely no hiccups at all. But I am, oh, hang on.
This afternoon, we're going to draw people doing different jobs. And the first job we're going to draw is a firefighter.
Have a think in your head what a firefighter looks like.
What's your firefighter called?
Mine's called Firefighter Gary. Firefighter Stack. Firefighter Simon. He's big and strong. He's got a big helmet on.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Next, we're going to draw a surgeon.
Have you thought of a name for your surgeon?
Jim Bob.
Jim Bob.
He's a brain surgeon. I think he would wear a stethoscope. He gives you medicine.
That's his ambulance.
Okay, next, we're going to draw a fighter pilot.
This is his jet plane. He rescues people. He likes to do stunts in the air and stuff.
Okay, now who would like to meet these people for real?
Yeah! Bang, they're dressed up.
My name's Tamsin and I'm a surgeon in the NHS.
My name's Lauren and I'm a pilot in the Royal Air Force.
My name's Lucy. I'm a firefighter in the London Fire Brigade.
So who wants to know how to do an operation?
Who's putting it on?
Try my stethoscope.
We put this in here. There you go. Now you're a proper fighter pilot.
So into your ears. Can you hear that? Yeah. It's really good. Yeah, it's much better than the kids' one.
Oh no, it's done it
This
again.
afternoon, we're
There we go. So good, it nearly threw itself up twice. Now, I've seen that video so many times before, and every time I see it, it still seems just as amazing as the first time, because actually, yes, if young people are not able to see people in these different roles and to understand the careers that are available to them, and not just for the examples there where we had firefighter, so lots of young people will know what a firefighter is, but there's jobs out there that young people haven't even heard of. It might be that you can go in and influence on different roles. So it's not even just about them being able to understand that a woman can be a firefighter or a woman can be a surgeon. And it's not just about the gender either. So different ethnicities, seeing people who came from, a poorer background. It's always really lovely when we've got the ambassadors and when we hear these stories from people who go back into their own secondary school or the college that they went to, and people can see, oh, you came here, you did this, you're like me. I have it quite frequently where I go back into the secondary school that I went to, and they are astounded that with all of the things that I've done, that I came from their secondary school. And being able to see that is very powerful. People who perhaps have neurodiversity or send requirements, and it can be that they might not necessarily have these aspirations. So where you can go and share your story is really very powerful. In that video there, where those kids thought that those people were dressed up, they didn't even believe it when those women walked in, and it was like, these are the jobs they do, that they're not dressed up, that they can do it. And if you can't see it, you can't be it. And that's why it's really important to go out and be seen by the people in your community.
Fab. Thanks so much, Jo. I'm the same. I've seen that video like loads and loads of time. Someone's just asked for a copy of that video. Yeah, we can send you the link. Not a problem. It is just open source on YouTube, I do believe. But yeah, we can share that across. We've kind of threw like so much information at you in the first half hour of this session. And I do think social value is a funny one, because we go like, it's about doing the good stuff, it's about the feel good, it's about the heart, it's about what we're doing for our communities, and then we go, oh, but actually we can put a price on it as well. Is it one, is it the other? Can it be both? I think it's tricky when we're in business and we're trying to justify what we're doing for cash flow or KPIs. But we're going to kind of move on a little bit, I think. So just have a little think about some of the kind of humanity in all this. Because I know us as an organisation and the Careers Hub, the work that we do, it's because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing for our young people to try and help grow the economy. And them two things don't often get linked together. It's like, oh, you do the schools and college stuff, and we take the people on for jobs, and there's a real disconnect. But I think there's like a lot of human stories behind all this. I'm going to hear in a little bit about Jo's story and a story from one of the companies that we work with, a lady called Ellen. But I thought for the kind of, we're doing well for time, for the next 10 minutes, I know we've got some cracking stories just in the people that are in this session. So I'm going to split us into two. I'll take a room. Jo, if you could take a room, and let's just have a little chat. Have a little think, a little bit of a reflect, like what's your story, who influenced you, was it anyone in particular, was it careers teacher, was it parents, was it somebody else, and equally as a business, who are you influencing? Or who do you want to influence? So Gemma's going to split us into two, and we'll have a little group discussion. I think we're all flying back in now. I always worry that we're going to lose a group when we come back to the room, but no, we're all nearly back here. Okay. Some really good conversation going on in our room, and again, if there's anyone in the chat that you want to be introduced with or pick up with, I just think it's really nice to think about the humanity behind social value and think about why it's important. One of the things that came up in our room was the actual lack of influence, not the who influenced you, it was the actual lack of influence. I think that's just as powerful on the other side of the coin, you know, to make sure that, you know, we are trying to get as much information into our schools and colleges as possible. And hopefully that might give you a way to kind of do some reflection on, as a business, who you're influencing. I have got a slide that's a little bit of homework today as well, because when we done this slide, we kind of came up with a lot of questions and we said, oh, that's too much for a breakout room, we'll scare them all away. So we've got a little bit more to come. But we're going to hand over to Jo, and Jo's going to tell you a little bit about her story because she's got a great story. Over to you, Jo.
I'm just going to actually add in a little snippet there, Michelle, from what's just happened in the breakout rooms and from where you said about that, not just about the influencing, but sometimes the lack of, that how powerful you sharing and promoting what you're doing on social media can be for young people, because that's a visibility that, you know, certainly when I was leaving school, university, it was only just sort of picking up that you could follow people and interact with them and see what was happening. And actually now that you can connect with people, and I've had people reach out to me on my social media that's really helped them with what they're doing. And those kind of things can be, it might not be being able to take all of your staff into a school for a day, or getting people to have the time to be able to go and do mock interviews or a careers fair. But if you can add in a profile about the successes that particularly your women or your people with neurodiversity or your people who, you know, maybe don't have a degree but still were able to achieve really amazing things in their job, those kind of things that influence young people can be really helpful at this time as well. But I shall tell you a little bit about my story. Sorry that you've all got to continue listening to my voice. So, oh, hang on. There we go. I've clicked the right bits. So I didn't know anything about civil engineering until I was at a careers fair when I was 18. So as a child, I really enjoyed music. I really enjoyed English language. I came from a big family, so I'm one of 9 children, and my parents come from uneducated backgrounds. But I did watch some of my older siblings go to university, and I thought that that would be the route that I would also follow, that I'd do school, college, uni. And when I was trying to think about what I wanted to do at university, it happened that I went to a careers fair where there was somebody there who spoke to me about civil engineering. Now, I remember it was a woman, and I remember it was a day in July. And I remember it was a careers fair in Liverpool. I don't really remember much else about her, and I wish I did, because she absolutely changed my life. And in that 2 minutes about her talking about her career and about what she did, I was like, that's what I can do. I can do that. That would be amazing. And it wasn't just that I think, well, it was about a week later that I contacted John Moores University and I said, have you got any places on your civil engineering course? And they said yes. Part of it was down to laziness, that I didn't want to go to a university further away. And also, I'll be honest, at that point, I kind of thought I was going to be building houses. I was quite excited that I might be building houses. And I went to the first day at university. We all sat in a massive lecture hall. All the built environment students were all sitting together. So there were hundreds of us. And they said something like, if you think you're here to you know, do these little jobs, you know, build little projects, you're in the wrong place. And I was like, oh dear, I'm in the wrong place, but I couldn't get up. So I stayed trapped in that room, and it was great. I think I got tricked into engineering because I didn't really know what it was, but it was the best thing I've ever been tricked into. And it wasn't just that this became what I did for my job. It became a lifestyle that I got paid for. I very much fell in love with traffic signals, kind of unintentionally. But traffic signals called me. They lit the way for my career, and I became a traffic signal engineer for 8 years. You can see there in the bottom of the page that that is a digger with a bride in the bucket. That is me on my wedding day. And my husband is sitting in the cab there, because it became something that I so loved, with every little fibre of my being, that it couldn't not feature in my wedding day. And of course, I thought about the safety. That's very important. So yes, my veil is in a white hard hat there, and I am wearing white steel toe cap boots for my wedding day. And it's nice that all of this came from just one woman and her 2 minutes speaking to me about her career, about her job. And I've not just been able to turn it into what I do as a job, but that's where I started to, when I was at university on my last year, I started to engage with this social value, this outreach for young people. And I realized very quickly that I liked engaging with young people, speaking about what I do and empowering them to take a similar role. So I've done lots and lots of STEM things in my time before All About STEM managed to pull me in. And I also found that a few years into my career, what I was struggling with as an influence was the fact that when I became a mum, it was very difficult to find women engineers who were mothers, who were climbing a career ladder, and being able to see those people and hear their stories, follow them on social media, engage with them on social media has been a really powerful influence for me as well, because where we go back to that, if you can't see it, you can't be it. It's not just about, can a woman be a firefighter, or a kid who's coming from a difficult background, can they be a surgeon, and inspiring them to do it. But people who are in the field now also get influenced by the social value commitments that businesses are putting in, and that time invested to show people and invest in them into where that development is going. And when I say I've engaged with a lot of people, here's just a little snippet of some of the photos from events I've been at, and how many young people I've been able to engage with and speak to, and sort of coordinate with businesses to promote what they're doing as well. And the likelihood that all of these people are all going to suddenly go, oh, I definitely want to be an engineer because I spoke to Joanna, and yes, I'll be an engineer now. That doesn't happen. It may be that there's a handful of them who've gone, yes, I'd like to go into engineering. That's what I'd like to do. But it's also about not just getting those people that you're speaking with as part of your social value to think, I'll definitely go and be a welder, or I'll definitely going to go and do drugs research now. It's about empowering them in their skills, their confidence as well. And the difficulty is here, you can't really put a value on that, because how do you measure somebody's confidence? How do you measure their resilience or their curiosity to explore something? That's very difficult. And that's where sometimes it's, when we are driven by businesses who need to see results, they need to see what those scores are on a card, can be quite difficult. But this is where the social value goes beyond that in what it's doing. Because if all of these people go away with a bit more confidence, even it may just be a bit more knowledge on the world that's happening around them. I didn't know anything about civil engineering until I was 18, and it's everywhere. When I now go into schools and engage with young people, the fact that they will leave the room just knowing that bit more about what's happening, their understanding of the world, that can be massive. It may be that what you go in and speak about isn't what they suddenly go, oh, that can be my job, amazing, but it might help their understanding in a maths topic. It might be that they perform better on a physics exam because of their understanding, because of what you've done, or that they look a little bit more. It also, I feel, when it's speaking about a business that's very close to their community, that it makes them understand and respect that a little bit more, about what's going on. If you can say, part of our business is we've invested £2 million in this park, or we've good. I don't know if you're investing 2 million in a park, but if you've said this is something in your community, you know, we as the business down the road from your school have planted all these new trees, that maybe those young people are going to respect those trees a little bit more because they know a bit more about the story of why the trees were planted. So all these kind of knock-on effects, you can't put that in a report. You can't say to, you know, your clients, oh yes, we've got an exact monetary value, but you can say these are the influences that it's having in the area. And all this came from one person with their 2 minutes, and then my time with these young people might influence them to go on to the next person, and influence them to go on to the next person. So that beautiful ripple effect can be ongoing. So that's why I feel it's very important to me, but it's also important to lots of people. We've got loads of stories, even in the chat, a few of you sharing your experiences, but this is a little story now about Ellen, who is one of the people who has done amazing things from the influences that were given to her through STEM. And I've just got a little bit of a snippet from her that I'm going to read out that goes along with these stories. So this is Ellen's story. Since year 8, I was part of an extracurricular all-girls STEM club. We started on the Unilever Bright Futures programme, which gave me the opportunity to take part in 3 full days of STEM activities, which included visits around the production and research laboratories, where I got to take part in practicals such as shampoo and capsule making. As well, I got to learn about the different jobs available and the experience that some job roles would be like. On the last day, we were given a project brief to make a sustainable product. This is where our project called Naturally Infused began. Through hard work and teamwork, we won the technical award at the Unilever Bright Futures programme, entering us into the regional Big Bang Fair. We developed our current products further and expanded our range through research. At the regionals, we won the Northwest STEM Club of 2018, and this sent us to the finals at the NEC Birmingham in March 2019. From successfully developing sustainable natural products with naked packaging, we then focused on a skincare and healthcare benefits that was achieved through further research and surveys. We spent 3 days displaying our project to over 60,000 people while being judged. I have listened and been interviewed and judged by many guest speakers, including a trainee astronaut, founder of STEMETS, senior director of National Geographic, science broadcaster, television science presenter, and senior vice president of GlaxoSmithKline. Finally, we won the Junior UK Scientist 2019, and this whole experience made me love the idea of project work, and it inspired me to aim for a job in STEM. I also gained confidence in public speaking, which helped me in my apprenticeship interview process. Since I enjoyed the project work so much, I continued to take part in STEM-related projects in my college through A-levels, including a research project and an engineering project. I can confidently say this experience has led me to my current degree apprenticeship today at Unilever as a chemical engineer. And that is so amazing, because this is how Unilever and what their social value investment has led to. And this is just one person's story, one example. But to go from that first picture there, the girls didn't even want to have their photograph taken. If you'll notice that they're all looking away because they were all like, oh no, you know, don't take my picture, don't take my picture. And then the confidence that she gained and where that experience took her. There's so much in there that you can't put that social value on, but where we looked earlier at some of those examples of if you bring in an apprenticeship for this many levels and what it's worth, you can't really put a price tag on what happened to Ellen, because it's not just about what she's now bringing into the business and what her development is now in her professional role, but also all of those things where she said it made her a more confident speaker and those engagement with young people. And now other young people can look and go, oh, well, I'm a year 8 in a STEM club and this is where it might take me. So a very, very good example of that feel-good story, and the kind of thing that then from the business point of view, a great thing that you can shout about. You might not necessarily have an Ellen that you influence, but it might be somebody else. It might be something else that they develop. And it's not always about those ones that are the real shining top of the game, all the prize winners. It might be a student who wasn't due to pass any GCSEs who then did get a pass mark. So it's a very varying degree on what that success looks like. But there's a little example with Ellen's story. So back over to you, Michelle. Give them their homework.
Thanks, Jo. Yeah, I choke a little bit about Ellen's story because I do believe we had a big part to play as an organisation in her story, which was just boss. And she's obviously way too busy to come to all the sessions for us today because she's got a boss job. So your homework, when we kind of did this, we said, what are your stories personally? I kind of challenge you to have a little bit of reflection. There's some open questions for you. You know, personally, what was your starting point? Where were your opportunities? And I think that might just help that kind of reflection personally and into kind of where you are as a business. And obviously we've got businesses of all different sizes at the session today, and that will be watching this as a follow-up recording. You know, what is your starting point? Where are you now? What are the opportunities that you can go for? What are your barriers? What are your misconceptions? We will share the slides with the recording. That'll be a given as well. Our next masterclass, just to plug that, will be around some really practical top tips for how you can get involved in schools and colleges from a standing start and to enhance any of the work that you're already doing. So that slide will be circulated as your homework for next time. Just wanted to give a shout out to obviously the things that we've been promoting the whole time. Again, the links are clickable when we send this round. Don't forget, you can, you know, I know there's only a few weeks of term left. If you don't work on school term times, those of us that do are clinging on for probably the next 3 weeks. You know, get in touch. We can get involved, so we can go at a running start come September. You can get involved in the Give an Hour programme. We can hook you up with Charlotte at the Careers Hub, who manages that. The Enterprise Advisor role, you know, we had a great celebration around Enterprise Advisors and the amazing work that they're doing this week. And obviously there's national programmes like the STEM Ambassador programme and also Nuffield Research placements that are happening right now. If anything that I've said has made you go, oh, I need to talk about that more, please get in touch with us. Or if there's somebody that you want to get in touch with who you've seen. Next masterclass is 11 o'clock on the 13th of July. Just a little bit around, you know, how to avoid jargon and make an impact on what you say. I think that was a really good session. I just wrote down, and it's funny, I did print out one of the things that was in the CA's social value brochure that I shared at the beginning. And it says, social value considers social, environmental and economic benefits to capture the difference an organisation or project can make to the communities it operates in. It encompasses a wider definition of value than simply financial outcomes. And I suppose I'd PS that with, you know, how do you measure magic? How do you measure that magic feeling that we can impart, whether it be changing someone's life or just helping them with a little bit of confidence? Both are equally as important. And this network is for us in the Liverpool City region, for us to work together. Yeah. Thank you everyone for coming. We will be sending out the recording. We'll send out the slides. We will be sending out a bigger evaluation piece looking at what we want to focus on next year for the quarterly meetings and for the masterclasses, and whether we need to mix it up a little bit. If anyone's got any opinions on any of that, please, as I say, get in touch. Can't help with the aircon, can't help with the hay fever, I'm afraid, or even the levels of tan if you are blessed with ginger hair. Yeah. Have a great time out there. Sun cream, antihistamines, and a fan is the best I can do. See you all next time. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.